welcome to another episode of the Faces of Acupuncture. Today's guest is Dr. Bishara Wilson. Bishara, or Dr. Wilson, or however you like to be called, why don't you explain to how you got into Chinese medicine and acupuncture?
I would say that it started in 1996, I would think, where I actually started doing meditation. And that was my first experience and exposure to like the 5 elements and how they relate to our bodies and our different organs, and meditating and literally seeing how my body's like consciousness and my connection to myself and to the greater universe.
Man, you were
through
deep.
Meditation.
You were deep right from the jump. You hit the gate deep. And most people don't hit the gate deep. You was special. Go ahead.
Well, in college, from my experience, a lot of folks around that age, 19, 20 years old, start to kind of explore more around their consciousness.
Okay.
And so I just happened to run into some books on Taoist meditation. And after that, started studying more on like herbs. And when I graduated from college, I had a big old afro.
Okay.
At the time, bumped the system.
Right.
I didn't want to go and get my master's in African American studies.
Right,
I didn't want to go corporate or even be a school teacher.
Right.
I knew I wanted to be an herbalist, specifically. Right. So I was looking through the Village Voice.
Okay.
And they had a whole bunch of open houses.
The Village Voice is
a local newspaper.
Okay.
Here in New York City.
Okay.
A lot of alternative sort of stuff,
It's no longer
articles.
It's no longer published online or on paper.
I don't even know. Wow.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they had a bunch of open houses for different schools, like career in natural medicine. So I went to a couple different schools.
Okay.
None of which actually had a program for herbs. Then I followed my spirit and went to an interview at what was the Pacific Institute of Oriental Medicine, which then became the Pacific College of Oriental Medicine, and is now the Pacific College of Health Sciences.
Okay.
And I was walking around, did my interview, and they took me on a tour, and I saw the pharmacy. And it was this huge room, all 4 walls, shelves from like floor to ceiling, all herbs.
Okay.
I said, I want to come here.
Okay.
But I don't want to do all that acupuncture stuff.
Okay.
I just want to.
You want the herbs?
I just want the herbs.
Yeah.
And so he was like, well, it doesn't work like that. It's a whole program. And with it, it's a master's level program and an accredited master's. And it's also, you get your licensure for acupuncture.
Right.
So I was like, wow, I can get like an official master's, because there were a lot of programs that I saw that were like mail order programs or certificate programs. And I, was interested in some of those, but once I saw that it was an accredited master's, I jumped in, and here we are today.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so, how was it when you went to school? Did you feel like your education was worthwhile?
Yes, it was tough, like going to school specifically for herbs.
Okay.
Was very tough because it was literally like speaking Chinese.
Right. So it is Chinese.
It is Chinese, right.
It's all in Chinese. The question is, did the students have a choice? Could they just focus on acupuncture, or did they have to do both?
There were 2 tracks.
Okay.
Some folks just did acupuncture.
Okay, that wasn't Oriental medicine. That was just acupuncture.
Right. And then there was that. So that was a master's in acupuncture.
Okay.
And then they had a master's of science in traditional Oriental medicine,
and that
which was the track that I did.
Acupuncture and
herbs. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So I just want to be a little clear. So that's a pretty demanding program.
Yeah.
Because in addition to learning all the Chinese anatomy and physiology, you had to learn now. The acupuncture needles, points, and also the different herbs and all of that. That was a mouthful.
And interestingly enough, I got the acupuncture quicker. It clicked.
Yes.
Quicker than the herbs.
Yes.
Because the herbs, it was, Chinese names, Qianghuo, Bohe, Shengjiang, Da Huang.
Gankao.
all of this sort of stuff.
Tahu,
And so what I did, I
Homeland.
just said, okay, all right, Da Huang, that's rhubarb.
So you were doing it that way.
Right. I just
So-
remembered the common
Yes.
name, and then I was able to attach the Chinese.
botanical
and then
name. Yeah. So you
it
got
clicked.
it. Yeah.
And then at some point, I started working in the pharmacy.
Right.
And then once I was hands-on,
Right.
touching,
Right.
smelling,
Right.
making formulas for all of the interns and
Right.
practitioners in the school clinic.
Right.
After like the first semester of doing that, that's when it finally clicked. And
Okay.
so school became, it was still difficult,
Okay.
but it became easier because I felt like a lot of things started to click, and then it was just kind of repeating the process.
So I learned herbs on my own through Chinatown.
Wow.
And so before I went to go to school, but I learned all the herbs on my own. So I was learning the Chinese names, but I wanted to translate the names, the Chinese names. So instead of trying to learn the botanical name, I didn't reference that at all. I just learned what the Chinese was saying about this
Wow.
herb. So if you got a Bishara,
Right.
then I said,
Oh,
Bai
this
is
is
white.
right,
Right.
right,
So
right.
food, stomach,
Right.
you know.
Sits
So
out,
yeah,
purple
yeah.
herb.
So I
Yeah.
was learning that way. So that's how I got to understand the learning of the herbs. I did it through that way. I had to translate it from Chinese into English translation. And then later I learned other things, which wasn't really, it was a Linus system of, classification of herbs, but that wasn't important because it didn't tell you nothing.
Yeah, because we had to learn, like you say, the Chinese name, and a lot of times it'll tell you like this out.
What it
might
does.
be purple herb.
Right. So what it does, where's that? What
Right.
purple herb go? Where does the purple herb go? So you
It's
go
the heart, and the
right.
pericardium or liver,
Right.
whatever
Yeah,
it is.
yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah. So you know. So
Right.
if it's white on there, wait,
It's going to go to the
spleen,
lungs and the spleen.
right, right. So somewhere like that, right?
mhm.
So it cuts you right into what they were doing in terms of what the names meant.
Exactly.
And so most of the schools, I don't know, they didn't teach that way at school when I went to school. I mean, I had already learned it. So when I got there, it was like, okay, I got to go to sleep because they're trying to teach me something else, but I already know it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that was smart how you did that. That was very smart.
And that just, that's only spirit.
Yes,
Because, and
yes.
like I say, and then working in the pharmacy, because it all just looks like leaves,
Yes.
and then it's dry.
Yes.
But then once you really get hands on and see the intricacies
Yes.
of it, and then it started to click.
Yes.
Because when we study herbs, we have to study the name of the herb. We have to know what acupuncture channels, like how we stick the acupuncture needles in the different meridians, different herbs also go to the different meridians of the body.
And-
so we have to know the meridians, the
Right.
taste, the temperature,
Yes.
the function,
Yes.
and how when they use
Yeah,
that function,
right.
because you may have one herb which is for the blood circulation,
Right.
but is it for the blood circulation to the heart,
Right.
or to the womb,
right?
or for the
to
knees, or
right.
something like that?
Right.
And so there are herbs for each one of those,
Right.
and so that's like the
Yeah.
magic in
So
all
I
of this.
always admire you. When I look back and when I saw you and I say, this brother, he does the herbs. So there's very few. I haven't met. Okay, I haven't met any the black acupuncturists who do herbs like you, right?
Like I said, I'm trying to be like you when I grow
So
up.
yeah, well, I mean, I had to step out because I had to go to Chinatown and talk with them. With my limited Chinese and their limited English. And so I'm trying to figure out what this is being used for. And the way they were doing it, they use a classical system, but they also use a very sort of a practical system. And so the herbs.
Explain, please.
So, like for example, if they were doing a formulation like say a Bajintam, right? So maybe they'd be like, oh, you know what, this person, I'm putting ginseng in here instead of Baishu.
That's right.
So
okay.
you see, or like maybe I'm going to do a Shu Di instead of Shu Di Wang, or so I'm doing Shu Di Wang or Shu Di,
Sheng Di, right.
yeah, Sheng Di. So all of that different, whatever the herbs are, they would, practical, because they'd be looking at the person right there. They didn't go back in the back and feel the pulse or anything like that.
Right.
They'd be looking at the person
Right.
right there on the spot
And
and make a
determine what they
formulation.
need. Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, you got this? You got that? And they'd
Yeah.
be looking at it. Okay, you need this. You need that. Right on the spot. They take
And-
this classical formula and they just are right on the spot.
And the great thing, even with the herbs, is like, say now as we're filming this,
Right.
it's the summertime.
Oh, you remind me they filming this? Go ahead.
So it's the summertime,
Right.
which is the heart and the small intestine.
Right.
So with any formula, we can add heart herbs to it.
Right.
Or herbs that help to strengthen the heart
Or
and strengthen the
pericardium.
small intestine or
Right.
pericardium.
Right.
Because this season of the year
Right.
is ruled by like the fire element.
So the acupuncture points do the same thing too.
Right, exactly.
So
and so
that's how they work it together.
Right. So let's bring it
Right,
there.
right.
And so with the acupuncture points, we can also do points that open up those different meridians, and then the herbs also go to those meridians, and then the foods also go there too, and
Yes.
so we get a whole
Then qigong
holistic-
can
and
go.
then the
Qigong can go right to
right,
those channels,
right.
so you're getting like this powerful
Exactly,
tonification going on like 4 different levels.
Exactly.
As opposed to just one level with acupuncture, one level with herbs by itself, or one level with food, or So this is a very profound system, and this is why when you see the fullness of it, I guess it must have blew your mind.
Yeah.
And
And that's what when we talk about like holistic medicine.
Mm-hmm.
That's the holistic, where we're able to go from so many different angles, and then with this being a system,
right.
we can show how it all totally interacts.
Yes.
From an energetic, and this stuff goes back. Some of these formulas we've been talking about herbs for a bit, they go back to the year like 200, the year 250 and before.
Yeah.
Like so.
BC, some of them BC.
Right.
BC.
Right.
Like
I love telling folks this tea that you're taking is literally 2,000 years old.
old.
Literally.
So all of the side effects have been worked out.
Right.
There are no unintended side effects. There's only unintended bad prescribing.
And also with modern research.
Right.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
And then also now with like modern research to go in and verify the ancient, for the folks that want to know the scientific proof, that's there also.
Right.
So we can get them from both the traditional ancient method, and then also like the modern scientific research laboratory in that way too, to confirm all of it for the folks.
For
that
example, I go on the NIH website, and they have the section on alternative
What's
medicine.
NIH?
National Institute of Health, right? And they have the alternative aspect of the
Yes.
website. So I go on there, and I would just I go through there, maybe a couple times a week, and they had this, diabetes Chinese medicine, and they had the Lu Wei Diwan.
All right.
Right? And I'm like, oh, that's for diabetes?
Right.
Right? I'm like, okay, that's interesting. They did research.
Right.
They found that Lu Wei Diwan, that's a 6-thing soup, right? And so they found that deals with diabetes. And so like, oh, okay, I was like, I don't really do it that way because I do it based on the person, right? But they do say diabetes is a yin deficiency, right?
Actually, in one of the teas on my website, I call it the sugar, because we can't use those terms, high blood pressure, because they have like a patent on them.
Yeah.
And that's the basis of it.
Right.
Is Lu Wei Dihuan Wan, 6 flavors.
Right. Tea. Right.
And there's some other herbs that add to it that are just like clinically known to help to lower the blood sugar. Right. And some folks, they swear by it. Right. Like they swear by it. Like this is the only thing that's helping me right now.
I like talking to you because you combine science, Western science, and which is if you have a grounding in the classical Chinese medicine, and then you bring the science in, that's where you at. Some people are trying to do the science first and then bring the Chinese medicine in.
Right.
Okay. And so that's a whole different other approach, and a lot of times you see that. So. I remember when you going to school at the New England School of Acupuncture for sports medicine.
It was a sports medicine acupuncture program.
I remember that day you came in and said, "Doc, we're doing cadavers." I'm like, what? I'm like, what? You was up, yeah, man. On the bladder channel on the back, man. We thought it was like an inch or 2 inches. That's like 3 inches deep, man. Yeah. I'm like, okay, all right. So you gotta, science. You basing your work in deep into science.
Yes.
That's what I always admire about you.
Because it goes with both You know, like a lot of this, it is the traditional and the energetic. But when we look at the muscle channels,
Right.
like we talk about the particular meridian.
Okay, so let me just get a disclaimer. The Chinese medicine have different levels of channels, and,
Right.
and the muscle channel is but not the most superficial. The skin channel is the most. Then the muscle is just below it. But anyway, on the meridian system, we're talking Chinese anatomy. Go ahead.
But it relates when you look at it to specific muscle groups.
Yes.
To your quads.
Yes.
To your biceps. To your lats and your triceps. And like the muscle channels are literally those muscles from a physical muscle level.
Right.
And then of course we can also deal with that energetically when we're dealing with the chi and the blood, when we're looking at it just from like a traditional standpoint.
Yes.
And so been able to help a lot of folks,
That's what I was going to ask you.
with the
Talk
sports
about your work.
medicine
Yeah, talk about your work
in
there.
that way. You know, working right now, professional teams. I've been doing some work with the New York Liberty, the women's NBA team.
Okay.
And been doing some work with the New York Liberty, the women's NBA team. Have worked with some Olympic athletes.
Okay.
And a lot of my clients are just regular everyday folks, you know, folks that are construction workers.
Okay.
You know, you have construction workers, they're doing these
Right.
weird motions
Right.
all day long, and it just throws off the body in that sort of way. Folks that sitting at a desk a long time at a computer and they're sitting like this.
Right.
You know, all of that, it causes stiffness in the neck and in the shoulders and in the lower back and the knees and all of that sort of thing. And so it's a whole way of treating folks. We do some posture assessment where we do like a picture, a computerized analysis where we take a picture of the posture and show folks where one shoulder may be higher than the other shoulder, the neck may be forward or to the side, the hips are rotated forward or up, the knees can be twisted in, the ankles are twisted out, and these folks literally with all of those imbalances may be running 20 miles a week and wondering why
they're in pain.
their neck hurts, why their
Right.
back hurts,
Right.
why their shoulder hurts.
Right.
And so with that, we may give them some things around some adjustments, some exercises, which are similar to physical therapy exercises for their posture. And of course, the acupuncture in my practice, how I do things. I'll do like electric stimulation, acupuncture.
Yes.
Similar to when folks see like the tins, like the pads that you'll see on the arms. We actually take the electrical stimulation and attach it to the needle.
Right.
And that goes directly into the muscle to help the muscle to contract and relax, to release any spasms, release any knots that may be in the muscles, help with the blood circulation, the chi circulation to that, just help to open it up. And along with the posture exercises, we also use the infrared heat, do massage, qigong, diet, herbs, and all of these work together to help athletes to get better, get back on the field. If they're injured, and before they're injured, we can look at someone's posture and be like, okay, based off of your posture, something else may happen in the future. So if someone has knee pain, that oftentimes is coming from their lower back.
I find with Mayor Adams, what he did is he changed the insurance that they had before, that none of the city workers were covered. Now they are.
Oh.
Many of them don't know it, but they are covered for acupuncture.
Okay, we can talk about that.
Yeah, so that's a huge teachers, city workers. I mean, it's just it's out there.
And that's our folks too.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Know,
this
and
is
that's
what I'm
like
trying to talk about.
That's our folks, different communities. When we're talking about people that are working class, middle class, your professionals, your teachers, school teachers, pretty much all of the folks that have city insurance. So that's great to hear that.
Right.
And for some of those plans, for us, they can pay less, but at the same time, it gives people the opportunity to come in and experience acupuncture in the way classically.
Right.
Because when we look at acupuncture classically, people should be coming in 2-3 times a week.
That's holistic
as
medicine.
Opposed to once a week or once every 2 or 3 weeks, because sometimes it can be, in terms of out of pocket, folks have to work according to their
Right,
budget and their
right.
pay and things like that. So that's great to hear that there are a lot more opportunities opening up around insurance.
So you have a practice with your wife. Talk about that just briefly.
Yeah, so the name of my practice is New York Sports Acupuncture.
Okay.
Because I do specialize in sports medicine, at least on the acupuncture. For herbs, I do a lot more than that.
Right.
And then my wife, she has her practice, Healthy.
Don't worry, we'll
No.
get it up. Yeah, I'll put it up there. I'll put
Healthy
it on
Mamas.
I'll put it
And
on
my
there.
wife, I said,
yeah.
my wife has her practice,
Yes.
Healthy Mamas in Harmony.
Yeah, there you go. There
And
you-
so, because I know.
yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, one more
Go
time.
ahead.
Then my wife has her private practice, Healthy Mamas in Harmony.
Yes.
And so she specializes in women's health. I specialize in sports medicine. And so we get the whole holistic aspect of it in terms of treating the women and treating the men, helping to educate our community, educate our clients, which then goes back to educate their family and their friends.
Where's your practice located?
It's in Bed-Stuy. We're in the Brooklyn Commons building at 7 Marcus Garvey, right by Woodhull Hospital.
Oh, y'all in the
And,
hood.
yeah, we're right there in the hood, in
Oh,
Bed-Stuy.
woo.
We used to call it do or die. We call
Yes.
it do or live.
Okay,
You
all
know?
right, all right.
Home of Biggie and Jay-Z
Yeah,
and
yeah,
Big
yeah.
Daddy Kane
Yeah, yeah.
and all of those folks.
Yeah,
Salute.
yeah, yeah.
And yeah, so we're right in the heart of Brooklyn.
Okay.
We're about 25 minutes from everywhere.
Okay.
25 minutes from downtown Brooklyn, local
Okay.
to all the bridges.
Okay.
Train station is literally
Okay.
2-minute walk away from
Okay.
the office. And so, you know, we've always worked to stay grounded
Okay.
in the community and being able to be in the heart where all of our folks are and accessible to, and we treat, you know, all different types of ethnicities, races, gender, sexual orientation, all of that, you know, receive acupuncture. So it's and it's great just to help people. You know, one of the things we say with acupuncture is that acupuncture works on the energetic and spirit level. And when folks' organs, their heart and lungs and liver and spleen and kidneys, and your energy is flowing so well, you're able to achieve your life purpose.
All right.
So ultimately, that's really the goal of this medicine.
Okay.
Is to have people feeling so good and being so in tune with themselves that they're actually able to go on and fulfill their life purpose.
Okay, on that point, Bishara, thank you.
Thank
It's been
you.
a pleasure.
My pleasure, Doc.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
All right.
I have a young son, he's 17, and we're having this discussion about male, toxic male behavior. So one of the things he asked me was, what I do, somebody looks at me from across the street and, I look back at him and then that spurs a confrontation. That might even end in my death. So what do I do? I said, well, you had a lot of choices, but because of your biological makeup, testosterone is pouring in your body as a young man. So testosterone makes you assertive, territorial, and risk-taking. Those are the basic things of testosterone. That's why all the nations in the world put their military, their young people, under the military control, because those young people can destroy the societies because they have no stake in societies, and they know that they're flowing with all this testosterone. So they want to make sure that that testosterone does not destroy what they built, because young people don't have a real stake in what it is now. They have a stake in the future, but not what's now. And if there's any inconsistency, they will pick it up right away. So the first thing I explained to them that if you want to change your perception about a situation, you can try and think it through, but it's not going to work. You can only change your perception when you have the ability to think, and that means that you have to have a relaxed mind. And a relaxed mind means that you have more options. So if the person across the street is looking at you, you don't have to buy into the challenge of, like, I have to stare this person down. You could just simply, smile to yourself and just move on. This is something that people can't disengage from. This is what I was talking about, the loss of, intelligence, the loss of your, IQ. So at work, if you are in a situation where you feel that someone's either trying to, belittle you or some kind, you feel threatened emotionally by something at work, and you put up your defense mechanisms. As soon as you put up your defense mechanisms, you're going to lose your intelligence. And, they call that emotional intelligence. Some people have better emotional intelligence than others. But really, it's your thinking process has now been hijacked by attention, and you can't think clearly. And because, number one, I mean, if you really want to get to it, the oxygen in your brain is now less. So a deprivation of oxygen in your brain, and you're not getting enough oxygen in your brain, of course, it's going to mean that you're going to be less intelligent. So it's important that you just, pull aside. It'll only take you less than a minute, all right? You pull aside and do 1 or 2 rounds of this breathing, and then all of a sudden, you're back. You're able to function. You're able to see things. And this is something that should be taught to the young lions, as I call them, the young, these young black guys out there, whose testosterone is forcing them to prove themselves as men, the toxic masculinity thing, So, I mean, we have other options. I mean, you can go start a business. You can, form any kind of positive competition. What team can clean up the neighborhood better? We got a challenge on that, Well, these are positive challenges. I mean, nobody's going to make your neighborhood good but you, until you vote people in that will take care of you. And, I'm a very big opponent, not opponent, but support, voting in the political system. That's the only power we got right now to have any impact on our daily lives. So, get these young people into, voting, since it's a very competitive game. Get them into the political game. The blue team versus the red team. I mean, make it happen,